on Professor Dr. Pia Aboleda to speak on her experiences during martial law. She'll be giving a short overview of what happened during her time. So, thank you, Dr. Pia.
Hello, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Thank you, Adi, Misty, Hi Chirp, and Anak Bayan for organizing this event. What I will share are recollections of our absent-minded professors. So please don't ask me about specific dates, but I promise that you will understand where I'm coming from at the end of my talk. I was born a year after Marcos became president. Until I was 20 years old, Marcos was the only president that I knew. I was 6 years old when martial law was declared. My only memory of that day was that there was no regular programming on TV. I was waiting to watch classic Tagalog films, but the only thing that played was this marching song over and over. And I will share a PowerPoint with you. So I won't have to sing it myself. Thank God for YouTube, huh? Okay, give me a second, slideshow. Okay, so this was playing. Right, so very nice, catchy song, right? This was drilled into our subconscious, the word bago, new, on endless loop, okay? A new birth, new life, new country, new movement, a new republic. Everything will change toward progress. Let us declare and celebrate our new republic. That translation is mine. We were so brainwashed that I remember the words to this day. I can sing that song. Thank God I don't sing it in the shower. Being a child, I had no idea what was going on, and I was wont to believe that change really was imminent. Like most of us back then, we bought the idea of progress and the new republic. At the surface, everything seemed well, especially for a child. But in high school, my social studies teacher was arrested. Her only offense was that she played videos about the harsh realities brought on by the United States military bases in the Philippines and the Chico River Dam project that was initiated by the Marcos dictatorship. The project involved the construction of 4 dams that would have destroyed rice fields, communal forests, and sacred burial grounds, and would have displaced 100,000 individuals from the indigenous peoples of Kalinga and Bontoc. Macleing Dulag, farmer and respected leader, opposed this project, and soldiers raided his home and killed him with a rain of bullets. So she played this video for us. For attempting to raise the consciousness of her students about these issues, my teacher was incarcerated. My classmates and I were asked to sign a petition for her release. This was at a time when Marcos declared publicly that there were no political prisoners in the Philippines. When I got to university, I joined the student council and the school's literary magazine. My comrades back then were writing poetry about oppression and social justice, things that I thought were what we were supposed to learn in university, to stand up for our rights and resist tyranny in all its forms. We would go to protest rallies and look out for each other using a buddy system. At the end of the day, when we got home, our first call was to our buddy to say we were safe. Just remember, there were no cell phones. So this was a landline. You don't have your cell phones during the rally. If you get arrested, all you can do is scream and hope people will notice. Okay. If our buddy does not make contact by the appointed time, we called a hotline for missing persons. Similar to what was happening in Latin America back then, there was always a risk that we would be taken and become desaparecido, that disappeared. I didn't think I was in any real danger until one of our senior editors disappeared one day. It took weeks of searching, and when he turned up, his body was thrown by the railroad tracks and was dragged by the train until he was barely recognizable. The students born after the EDSA revolution will never understand the cloud of fear that hung about our heads all the time back then. We never knew when it will be our turn to be taken. When the EDSA revolution broke out, our student organization was skeptical. Although we felt relieved that the dictator had finally fled, we did not know what to expect. The Corazon Aquino administration did try to incorporate some liberal and more progressive officials into their administration, but people were confronted with the same issues we were faced with during the Marcos administration. Land reform was one of these issues. I have been to a lot of protest rallies and was even tear gassed in front of the American embassy. But the most violent experience I had happened after EDSA. The day was January 22nd, 1987. State security forces violently dispersed a farmers' march to Malacanang Palace in protest of the lack of government action on land reform. This was to be known as the Mendiola Massacre. The online report said it took the lives of 13 farmers, but that is an incorrect number. The number was 19 farmers, and we stood vigil with their families. Sorry. And more than 50 protesters were injured, some were arrested, some went missing. This was me. Sorry, let me share my photo. Can you see this? Oh. Sorry. So February 10th, we did an indignation rally. The Manila Standard debut issue. This picture appeared on the front page. My father saw the photo and said, "What are you doing with your life?" But I said, "How could you not be involved in what is going on in our country back then?" I feel like a part of myself is still waiting for the new republic to emerge. Sorry. But I think that we face the same problems we did back then. It is because death must come before rebirth. We need to get rid of all things that no longer serve us in order to effect change. It requires the eradication of greed and corruption, the dismantling of oppressive systems, the erasure of fake news. It is getting more and more difficult to discern truth from falsehood these days. But I knew that if we remain vigilant, that we will prevail, because forces of light, truth, justice always win at the end. I just wish I lived long enough to see it. Maraming salamat po. Sorry.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Pia, for that great message and the sharing that you shared with us. We all hope that we can see the new better society for everyone.